Hi, this is Dana, and in this video, I am guided to talk about the importance of action in 3D while you're doing spiritual fighting. Now, spiritual fighting, of course, resides in many dimensions, and one of them, of course, is the astral, but you have to remember that the astral is the land of thought. The astral is a field full of deception. This is the space where the bondages were created, were conceived. The attacks are being carried on. The occult practices have impact. For this reason, being the land of thought, any bondages created that you are fighting are being recreated in a matter of seconds, just by the power of thought. No matter how much you fight in astral, the spiritual fighting, um, in astral they can be recreated. So the key to lock in change and to put an end to existing bondages is 3D action. Manifesting, of course, is developed in astral partly as a thought and energy work, but it is locked in through change in 3D. This is extremely important because you have windows of opportunities in many ways given by God to you. In order to produce this change. And if you don't take action in 3D, then again, I say all the bondages can be recreated in a matter of minutes or seconds, even through mind projection, through thought attacks, and so on, and of course, occult practices. Now, this is a lesson which everybody has to learn. And I wrote many times in my prophetic writings that sometimes in astral you deal with hidden bondages, you deal with blocked situations, and sometimes you cannot see the entire bondage while you're fighting the spiritual fight in astral. So when you do this, when you encounter these kind of situations, the key is to produce change in 3D. And then you can actually start seeing, because darkness is being transmuted through action in 3D. And I gave an example in one of my prophetic writings when a certain number of attacks in astral were carried on against me, and those individuals were claiming rights at me through my workplace. And at that time, God guided me that there were so many involved in simultaneous attacks at me that the only way to put an end fast to that situation was to resign from my job, because they did create this illegal system by using employment as a way of claiming rights over people. So essentially, in order to be able to put an end to the darkness attack, and so I can start my spiritual fighting in a different position of power, I had to actually resign from my job in 3D action, so I can actually take my power back by breaking that kind of authority which they illegally took or at least claimed in order to attack me. So many times 3D action is the only way to break through in a crisis moment or in a moment of blockage, in order to move things along and create reality. You remember that you came in 3D. So here's where you have to produce change. You cannot be sitting and living in 3D and just wandering with your mind in 5D trying to manifest. Because if that would have been so, you would have stayed in 5D and manifested from there. But you came in 3D specifically because this is the only way when you produce change in 3D. This is the only way when you actually break these bondages. Otherwise, they are just being recreated. This applies to everything related to spiritual path. You cannot begin your spiritual journey but still refuse to break links, strings, and attachments on you through different 3D possessions or memberships in different organizations, in different systems, which essentially keep you locked in. You cannot, even more than that. I gave example in another prophetic writing. When I started my spiritual journey, they were blocking all my ways out to live, all my access to resources, and so on. So God guided me and explained to me at the time, in order to produce change, you must take steps. Now make your luggage, book your flight, take your car, prepare. So you make changes, real life changes, incremental changes in order to manifest an reality in 3D, which is the only way how you can actually change and produce a manifestation. Otherwise, it's just a thought. And no matter how powerful you are by thought, unless you're taking action, that will never become a reality. This is valid for the new beginnings. When God gives somebody a new beginning, God has shown me many times, you must take action. So I will give you a new career, but you must start working on that career so I can bring into your path people to help you to develop that career. But if you just sit idle and you don't do anything, a new career cannot be happening to you. You must take action. You must do something. It's valid for your gifts as well. God said, I will activate gifts on you, but you start working with them as soon as I activate them. Even if you're not in the position at that point in time to have the type of practice that you would desire or deserve, as you start working with your gifts and you start mastering your abilities in the field, I will bring people on your path to offer you opportunities to develop that to the level that you deserve. But you must start working with it. You cannot be sitting idle and doing nothing. So in each and every situation, in many, many ways, action in 3D is critical in order to take advantage of windows of opportunity opened by God, to manifest in 3D an outcome, which is the purpose why you came here in 3D, to develop the new beginning which God is putting together for you, and also to develop new career in spiritual field or in any other field for that matter. So you really must take action in 3D. It is not possible to carry on spiritual fighting successfully to the end unless you actually produce change in 3D. Of course, the spiritual fighting involves astral, involves 5D, involves energy work and manifesting process, but the process will never be fully developed and accomplished unless you actually produce a material existence 3D level change, transformation. And again, God will work for you and will help you create that, but you must be the one to have the determination to do so and to take steps every day to develop the 3D outcome. Otherwise, again, it's just a wishful thinking. And no matter how powerful you are in wishful thinking, um, this will not become a reality. And this applies both to empaths who usually focus on healing. Um, and again, any energy healing, I have said that, is only temporary. And if you truly want to produce deep healing, you have to engage on different levels as well. But it's also valid for warriors. You cannot be sitting in the same 3D reality while fighting spiritual fights in 5D or in astral, because you need the 3D outcome, the reality, the material reality transformation, so you can actually successfully manifest that into your reality. And this is the path to achieve your purpose by creating a new reality, which means new reality in your um, 3D existence, because we still are in 3D existence. Um, again, 3D action, it is mandatory, it is a prerequisite for a manifestation, um, and is supposed to be done in parallel with the spiritual fighting which you carry on in astral level and in 5D. And God is showing me to point out that if you're doing, many times people are doing self-defeating, conflicting actions, namely fighting in 5D, spiritual fighting, doing energy work, but in 3D they keep the same connections which against which they are fighting. So, for example, if you're in a marriage and you want to break a bondage with that individual because he's a karmic, no matter how much spiritual fighting you're doing, no matter how much you're fighting in astral or in 5D, no matter how much energy work you're doing to cut the cords, if in material existence you continue to carry on the same relation, um, basically is self-defeating. You will never get anywhere. You're just making your life a living hell, both in 3D and in 5D, because you're going to be exhausted by carrying on the same fights against the same individual with whom you're sleeping at night. This is just an example which God is showing me, but this applies in all types of encounters and even possessions. And you must know this. I have been guided by God in my spiritual journey and in my spiritual fighting many times that there are certain items, certain possessions in your life which make it impossible for you to succeed in your spiritual fighting, because they were created in your life through bondage creation. And sometimes these are possessions. I will give you just a short example. I left in my spiritual journey with my car, of course, driving away. And at some point, God said, "You must sell the car." And I was like, "This is crazy. I'm in a foreign country now. I have my car. You asked me to sell my car. And then how will I move along? Because I was also with my dog, you know. So it's very complicated to travel with a dog because many people don't accept dogs in their cars or as a taxi or in a plane, or you know. So it's very complicated situation. And God showed me, you must sell it, and I will find ways for you to travel, because there were death spells created on my car. And he said, you will not survive in this car. So to stay alive, first of all, which is the basic for you to move on your spiritual journey, you must sell the car, you know. And I did sell the car. And indeed, God helped me from that point forward. I was in Bulgaria at the time, and God helped me get to 12 more countries without having my own car and having my dog with me. So I know from personal experience that many times things which in 3D logic seem like, you know, they're very important to keep in your life, because how am I going to travel, you know, if you make me sell my car? But essentially, they create bondages on you and attacks on you through those things or people who seem to be critical in your life, because you preserving them in your life will keep that bondage alive. So essentially, I had to follow God's guidance, although I must tell you that I was terrified. But I figured, you know, there is no other way. And since I want to do this spiritual fighting, and I have to survive physically, first of all, hence I had to sell the car. And I did sell the car. And again, God did provide for me in such a way that I traveled in 12 more countries. And this happened in the beginning of my spiritual journey, mind you. So it was just in the first weeks of my spiritual journey. So I continued my spiritual journey for 12 months in 11 more countries. And God did provide transportation for me and my dog, one way or another. But if I would have preserved the car in my life, thinking that, okay, this is crazy talk. I cannot sell the car because I must drive somehow. I must move from one place to another. Then I wouldn't have been able to move, and you never know what would have happened. God was showing me essentially that there were um, um, very tough occult practices, spiritual attacks, death spells, and spirit attachments on my car. So essentially, since I was not able to break those, I had to sell the car, which I did. This is just a trivial example, but I am giving you this example, and you will extrapolate this into comparing with other situations in your life. And this goes for places, items, and people in your life. The same applies to relocation. I have said in a different video, sometimes in order to stay alive, you must relocate. Sometimes certain bondages are created specifically on that location, so you must move in order to break them, because everybody in the neighborhood is involved in creating and recreating that on you. So that goes to everything. Sometimes, and I did leave my house, which was my own property, for 12 months on my spiritual journey, precisely for that, because everybody in my neighborhood was involved in a gang stalking activity, and they were attacking me, and they were using the house essentially, and the proximity, the geographical proximity, in order to attack me, to create bondages and slander at me, and lies, and so on. So these are just a few examples. I cannot go in depth in every type of example that could be of interest to you, but you can process this, and you can do an introspection, and most importantly, you can ask guidance from God, what exactly steps you must take in order to produce change, in order to break the stalemate. This I would advise to include as a question in your astral letters to the karmic board meetings. The next one is in June. In order to receive guidance, what actions can you actually take in 3D in order to generate forward movement in your spiritual fighting and on your spiritual path. I hope this is clear to everyone. As always, you can ask questions if you're interested to learn more details, or if you have specific questions on a specific matter. Please like and subscribe to my channel, so we'll make sure that the knowledge I'm sharing will reach as many people as possible. Believe me, it might be that a piece of information which is in my video or in any other spiritual writings that you encounter could save somebody's life in a certain situation. So please be mindful of that, and like and subscribe to my channel to make sure that we reach with this information those people who actually need this. And of course, you will find, as always, in the description box below, informations related to my PayPal account and my wish list if you want to donate a present from the list that I made. And again, as I was guided before, I am extending my gratitude to those who already donated to support my work. I am working on putting together and publishing my first book, which will sum up together all my prophetic writings from my Facebook, which I have been publishing on my Facebook account throughout my spiritual journey so far. Thank you.